Greetings and welcome to Nature's Bounties. I'm Marian Oluyinka Atolagbe. It's such a joy, very pleasant for me to be here to share those little things here and there. I call them little because they seem little, but I know that they are very important. Please, let's ask for the Lord's blessing so that we can start off very well. Dear Father, we pray that your Holy Spirit will guide our thoughts, our minds, and that all of these important facts will be helping us to live a better life to the glory and honor of your name. This is our plea in the name of Jesus. Welcome again. Nature's Bounties. It's about health and wellness. How do we use the things of nature to help us to stay in the best of health? That's the core of the message. And it's so important because health is wealth. This time around, I want to talk about the mother of all diseases. I first got this spoken to me in a lecture by Dr. Mammon Wilson. The mother of all diseases. What is it that gives birth to those lifestyle problems that gives us the aches and the pains, and they will not go away? If we can identify that which births all of these problems, that would be great. Then we can work with it and help to take care of the situation. But first, let me say that the health of our bowels, yes, our metabolism, that is how we eat, what we eat, and how we digest what we eat, is very, very important when we are talking about the mother of all diseases. Because the function of the intestines as they do their work from the mouth to the stomach to the small intestine, the large intestine, and then the colon before the waste product passes out. All of the functions that happens during this tract of event are very key to our health, and it's also key to the function of every other body system that should do their work properly. If this is important, it is very key for us to keep in mind that if our digestive system, especially the last part of it, becomes a refuse dump, we are in trouble. Because the colon is supposed to be a passageway. Yes, it will keep the waste product for a little while and give us the urge to send it out. If we hear that urge and we hold back, there may be problems. The mother of all diseases, if I can let it out very quickly, is constipation. How do we work with constipation to make sure that we don't get constipated? That is very important. Now, there are other things related to it, and the things related to constipation are very important in helping us also to be able to take care of this situation before it gets out of hand. What are the foods that help our metabolism to function very well? You know, when God made man, he gave him grains, fruits, nuts, and seeds. But when sin came in, God added vegetables to the food for man. And those vegetables, they are the herbs that we eat and help our body to rejuvenate and to build back itself. In doing that, we eat the vegetables, but they must still be processed to go into our cells. Because that is how the body will be revitalized, brought back to life. As this body of sin is dying, vegetables help to bring it back to life. When we eat animal sources as the food, meat, fish, eggs, and so forth, they are second-hand. The animals eat these vegetables, and then they process them, assimilate them very well, and then we eat them as second-hand if we choose to eat from the animal kingdom. Plus, more and more evidences are showing us that diseases in the animal kingdom is rising. Therefore, when we take that our body fights so that the diseases will not settle in our bodies. And it's very important we realize this so that when we are making the decision, we will choose that which is the best for our body. I love an author who wrote about these things several years, hundreds, about 150 to 200 years ago, that food from the animal kingdom causes a lot of the lifestyle diseases that we face today, from high blood pressure to heart diseases to cancers to all type of lifestyle diseases that is plaguing the world today. And that if we eat less of that or eradicate them totally, our bodies will be able to get itself back to life, revitalize the life. Again and again, this author said, don't take those things because they are not the best for health. Because in the beginning, the food that God gave man is that which will help the body get the food, digest it properly, assimilate into the body, gather the waste products. Because we know that it's not only waste product from the food that is the waste that we are passing out. No. Remember that cells die. The cells that die in our digestive system areas from the stomach, within 5 days, these dead cells must be renewed. And the dead ones must be taken out of the body through feces. Now, if these must be taken out of the body through feces, even the ones in the intestines too, that means that the feces, the stools, they are not just the waste product from food, but rather they are also the attempt for our body to throw these dead cells out and other waste material. Therefore, the foods that will do this for us, they are the fruits, the grains, the vegetables, the seeds and nuts in small quantities. Why is this so? Nature tells us, and the God of nature emphasizes it to us by giving us these things and restricting some things for our use. If we are to eat nuts, which is very, very necessary for us because there are elements of food in nuts that we need for this body, handful, the size of the heart, enough for the whole day. So if you want to eat nuts 2 times a day, that means you take a handful and divide it into 2. That's all we need. And also seeds in small quantity. Is that the reason why nature puts nuts in hard shell? Makes sense. Also, dietary fiber, the skin of the grains, the skin of the seeds, they are very, 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 I use the word very 3 times, key to our bowel movement integrity. Whether our bowel movements will be right in what sense? In order to assimilate the food, especially in the small intestine, which is where most of the food that we have taken will be assimilated into the blood. Some of it also take place in the large intestine. But by the colon, it's the coming together as bulk to enable these waste products to get out of the body. If there is no fiber in our food, you know what will happen? What will happen is what happens if we eat white bread. If we eat white bread, it sticks to our palate. It's difficult to gather it around. But if we eat whole grain bread, you will see how we can chew it properly and swallow it in the very soft texture. The same thing pretty much happens in the stomach, in the small intestine, in the large intestine, in the colon. When there are no fiber, soft, jelly-like fiber, 2 types of fibers, but the important thing is that we should eat them. They are the skin of some of the fruits that we don't need to remove the skin, and we eat the skin with it. They are the skin of the seeds. They are the skin of the grains. They are in the vegetables. Vegetables are loaded with a lot of fiber. We need to eat them. If we don't eat them, it's not fair for our body. Our bodies will be crying for help. The bowel movement that we should have will not be able to have bulk in order for it to pass out. Keep in mind, the thing that births that is the mother of all diseases, as found by natural healthcare practitioners, is constipation. And constipation comes because primarily there is no fiber in the food that we eat. Without fiber, it will be difficult for our food to gather itself together, plus the waste and the dead cells to get out of the colon easily. It sits there sticking to the walls of this tube, as Dr. Kellogg calls the tract from our mouth to the other end. Constipation is the difficult part of life. Our lifestyle, especially urbanization, moving to the cities, living fast life, we often don't eat what we are supposed to eat. The good digestion, the proper assimilation will happen when we first and foremost eat the right type of food. What will be our best choice? Our best choice is those things that grow from the earth. Why? We ourselves were made from dust. And because we are made from dust, the elements in the dust are the ones that will nourish our bodies. Therefore, it is better for us to eat foods that are plants, that grow. Things that grow are the things that are the best for our body. Vegetables, fruits, grains, nuts, seeds. When God made man, he gave him fruits, grains, seeds to eat. Then when sin happened, he added vegetables. And those vegetables are the ones that revive. They revitalize the body because they are the herbs of the garden. They are the ones that are loaded with the elements, the minerals, the vitamins that help to rebuild our cells in very, very special ways. If we don't eat vegetables and we discourage ourselves from eating animal sources, then we are not taking the second hand from animal sources. We take the first hand from the vegetables. When our bodies are not feeling well, one of the things we need to think about is maybe we need to juice the vegetables and extract the juice from it. Then it will be very concentrated. Then we drink. And then we drink often, like 4 times or 5 times, but we don't eat in between at those times when we are very much revitalizing our bodies very quickly. But that should not be the practice. What really should be the practice is that we have a plan to eat regularly at regular times and to eat the proper foods, vegetables, fruits, grains, nuts, seeds. When we do this, there will be harmony in digestion of our food because all the elements that we need for proper digestion will be present when we make those important choices. Now, look at it this way. When there is digestion taking place, enzymes are produced from the walls of the digestive organs, like the stomach or the small intestine, especially the stomach. When this happens, the stomach also produces cells that are dying and that die. And when they die, they become part of the waste products that needs to pass out of our body. When these waste products are to be passed out, they need some element that we call fiber, dietary fiber. This dietary fiber, they are part of the food that we eat, and they are more present in plant foods. Some fruits, we don't need to remove their skin, we eat them with the skin. Most vegetables, we eat them with the skin, especially green leafy vegetables. The fiber is loaded in these items. They are there, and they are necessary to form the bulk that will take the waste products and the dead cells out of our body through the colon. But if we take highly refined plant foods where their fiber has been removed, then we face the same problems as when we eat animal foods, because in animal products they don't have fiber at all. But when we take plant sources, we should take them with the fiber. Those grains, the whole grains, is what we need. So when we take bread, it should be whole grain bread, not fine flour. Those ones will cause constipation because we need the fiber to help our food digest very well and to bring together the waste product to get out of the body. When we take fruits, we don't want to take overripe fruits or not ripe fruits. We want to chew all of this very well so that we can have all the nutritive elements in the food that we eat. We chew very well, then we digest very well, and then the fiber are there. If we don't, there are diseases that have been identified that are caused because there are too much waste in our bloodstream. Hypertension is one. Ah, yes, hypertension is one. The heart begins to work hard to pump blood to help the dirt in our bloodstream to get out. And then the fiber in our food, because they are there for that purpose, to get the dirt out and to pass them out of the body. But when we don't take these things, we miss out. What are the other diseases that have been identified? Diseases like cancer. Terrible. Nobody wants to hear. Even the announcement alone that, oh, I suspect a metastatic condition can send chills down the entire body. But if we prevent all of these things, they are far better than to attempt to cure them. And we prevent them when we don't have constipation. Very, very important that we don't have constipation. How many times do we need to move our bowel? The number of times we eat. Therefore, if you snack, that will make it difficult for the number of times and the proper digestion and packaging of the waste product to be eliminated out of the body. Constipation is when we don't move our bowels as per or according to the number of times that we eat. So if I eat 2 times a day, I should move my bowel 2 times a day. I found that strange too when I first heard it. But I have found that it is so healthy and so true if that happens. If we eat 3 times a day, we should move our bowel 3 times a day. That's a lot of work. I think I would choose to eat 2 times a day. Maybe others also think along the line with me would like to do that. But how do we do this and how will this be possible? We need some planning. We need some decision making. First of all, we need to decide, is this good for me? We need the facts. And that is one of the reasons for this program. Do we share those things that will help in making very good decisions? Yes, by the grace of God. We want to do that which will help us to make the best decision because it's a matter of choice. We have to make choices. If we don't make choices, then we are no more human beings. God made us so that we have the opportunity to decide what we want. But then, if we have the opportunity to have some important information given to us, wouldn't that be helpful? I think so. I think that would be very, very helpful if we have information that will help us in making the right decision. So when we talk about constipation, here we are again. If we choose that diet from the Bible, which she endorsed, we will see that they are the diets that will prevent constipation, the mother of all diseases. Constipation is the mother of all diseases. And constipation is defined as not having as many bowel movements as the number of times that you eat. So if you know that, I'm not going to be able to move my bowel today, can we say we will not eat? No. We must make arrangements and plan to be able to do this very well. Because as we do this, we will select the best food that is available. We will also plan ahead of time. That planning I'm emphasizing. If we don't plan, then we will not be able to achieve this. There's a need, a very great need to plan, and that is fresh fruits. I recommend, as I have found from other sources, that if we choose to have fresh fruits for breakfast, you know that word breakfast, we have been fasting throughout the night. Then when we wake in the morning and we drink some water, That's another topic for another time. But for now, we're talking about food and how to avoid constipation. That water too, of course, is part of it. Drinking water first thing in the morning, it helps. It seems as if, and that is what it does in the real sense of it, it washes off the debris of yesterday and allow us to have a good bowel movement first thing in the morning when we wake. Then we drink water. Then we take a breakfast with plenty of fresh fruits, plus some grains, a lot of fiber. And that helps us very, very much to have regular bowel movement. Then also, when we choose our vegetables, please and please, I implore that it will not be the ones that they have sprayed with herbicides and pesticides. Because those things, when we eat them, they do not help us. They are detrimental to our health. Our cells account for them as poisons, and they have to be dealt with as poisons because they are not food. They are supposed to kill the pests, but when we take them and then it comes into our system, there is something they call in science biomagnification. They even intensify in their effect in our bodies. And therefore, when we're talking about vegetables, we need to take the ones that they have not sprayed. And that might really mean planting some of them. Waste accumulation in the body means hardening of blood vessels, the arteries especially. They get hardened when these wastes are deposited. Extra fat in the body that is not taken out by all the fiber that are supposed to be there, they block blood vessels. High blood pressure is one big problem in Africa today and in the entire world. 1 out of 3 Nigerians, according to statistics in home country here, are suffering from high blood pressure, and it is a symptom of a problem with the heart. At the beginning, the heart is doing a lot of work, and then what do we do most of the time? We take some medications to correct the high blood pressure, and many times the medication will affect the heart because it acts on determining how the heart pumps the blood. Then diabetes. It is sad to know that diabetes is killing us in Africa. It should not be that. If we eat naturally a lot from the food that we grow, we will find out that we will get rid of diabetes. Even cancer will not come near us because we'll have prevented it. And let it not be mistaken that we think that if we leave the animal product, we'll not have muscular strength. No. Research has shown over and over again that actually strong muscles are built from the plant kingdom foods. Plants are the ones that supply the essential elements for our bodies. Therefore, they are the ones that build the cells. And animal products, they accumulate and they don't get to be released properly. Remember now about constipation. Any food that will take a long time to digest and that will have a lot of waste products as a result of its consumption will make it difficult for the body to ease off and move the bowel. One, they don't have fiber. Then animal products, they then have a lot of fat. And those ones do not allow our cells to be able to do their work properly. If we don't do something immediately and we allow our bowel movement to stagnate, that is, they don't move out as they should. Why? Because we don't take enough fiber. Because we don't take enough plant sources, and they are the ones with the fiber. And because we don't drink enough water too. But primarily for this time, I want you to look at the diet pattern. Our transit time should not be more than 24 to 36 hours. Research tells us that many people in developed countries, their transit time sometimes are 52 hours, sometimes more than that. That's not good. 24 to 36 hours should be our transit time. Transit time meaning the time I ate the food to the time I see it in the toilet. That is the transit time. It should not be more than 36 hours. If it is more than 36 hours, constipation is knocking on the door. Hello? Can I come in? Constipation is saying that, and that is not good. There should be easy passage of our bowel movement. It should not be that we'll go there. As I see in some bathrooms, they have magazines stacked up in some bathrooms, toilets. Why? Because they know that some people will sit down there and may need to relax for a while. No, we should go in, ease off the stool, and come out. It shouldn't take a long time. We shouldn't strain. We shouldn't strain until we have hemorrhoids coming out of the anus. That should not be the case. We take adequate water, we eat lots of fiber, we have regular exercise, we avoid animal products, we eliminate free fat and oil from our diet, and we'll have regular bowel movements. Regularity also in the time that we eat, regularity in all that we do as much as possible. If we begin to practice it a little at a time, just one day at a time, we don't need to rush anything, and we don't need to get to it at once. We only need to take a day at a time. Don't they say that the journey of a year begins with one step? Any journey that we want to take, including lifestyle changes, so that we avoid constipation. And if we have constipation, what can we do? That is the time to now go on a high fiber diet. The bran of wheat might be an option. We use a lot of psyllium because the psyllium is just husk, and then take it, mix it with some juice and take and drink. Our diet pattern will affect our character. And if it affects our characters, it will affect our mental ability to cope with the things that we want to cater and cope and take care of. Then also, it will affect our spirituality. And this is the area in which I focus on a lot. Personally, as a person, I want to be right with God. That's the choice I have made. And I share this with others so that they will be right with God. However, if they are suffering from constipation, it will be difficult. One other thing I should not fail to mention is that when we are constipated, when the stool is in the colon and it's not going out of the body, blood in that area will reabsorb the dirt and send it back into the bloodstream. That is just not fair, that we have a return of the dirt into our bloodstream. We want to avoid that. And therefore, my admonition is, whether you eat or drink, or whatever you do, as 1 Corinthians 10:31 says, do all to the glory of God. And that is where I'll pause this time. Till we meet next time by the grace of God, so that we can continue to share these wonderful truths that God has given us in nature.